All right, sellers, so we have now accepted an offer from a buyer. That means we have sifted through all of our offers that we received and we chose one that fits best for you. So today is day 0 of whatever we negotiated, whether it was a 25-day, 30-day, 45-day escrow. Today is day 0. So some things that you should know are important dates Trevor will explain to you.
So there's 3 contingency periods. First is going to be the inspection, the second is going to be the appraisal, and the third is going to be the loan. Throughout this process, you're going to hear a few key words from us or abbreviations. One's going to be COE, which is close of escrow, and 2 is going to be CR, that's contingency removal. And there's going to be 3 throughout that process, and then 1 at the very end, which is going to be the full contingency removal. Chase will talk more about that.
Yeah, so diving into the first contingency removal, the most important one will be inspection. And typically those are negotiated in a range of 10 days to 17 days. Contract states 17 unless we chose a buyer with a different, a sooner period. But within that period of time, we should anticipate the buyers to come into your house once, maybe twice, to do all their investigations, all their due diligence. So this is not uncommon, you guys. So when I get a phone call or a text from the other real estate agent, the buyer's agent, they're gonna give me a time and a day that their inspection is scheduled. And on that day, you guys, it's pretty typical that the sellers do leave the house. This gives the buyers an opportunity to do kind of like a private tour to get comfortable with the house and to kind of get to know it a little bit more and do their due diligence and inspect as much as they possibly can. The reason why this is an important time for the buyer is because this allows them to find out anything that is wrong with the house. And also this is good for us. So the more they find out, the safer that we are, the less likely they can actually come back and say, hey, you knew about something that we didn't know about. So you want this to happen. You want them to get down and do the nitty-gritty work. After this is done, sometimes there is a request for a repair list. Most of the times I recommend that we choose to only do the health and safety things that are on that list unless we're in a desperate situation and we really have to perform to get these buyers to close escrow. And in some cases, the better cases that I really feel comfortable with, the sellers actually give somewhat of a credit or a money back in escrow in lieu of all these repairs because it may take a little bit more time for you than we have to get through escrow. So the second contingency is the appraisal, and Trevor's gonna touch base on that.
Yeah, so this is kind of the hot topic in this market nowadays because everything's going over asking. I mean, everyone knows that, everyone sees it on Instagram now. But it's the key thing to make sure that the appraiser is going to give you that value. Well, we don't pick the appraisers ourselves, neither does the lender. It goes into a lottery and they pick them independently, completely separate from us. So we have nothing to do with that. And as a seller, we want to get you the most for your home, but we can't do that unless appraisal comes in. At that point, if it doesn't come in, then we can renegotiate with the buyers and we can go from there.
That would either be meaning the buyer comes up with the difference in value if the appraisal was short, or the seller has to renegotiate to what the appraiser came in at.
Exactly. So you can kind of start the renegotiation process there, but typically with the way the market's been, appraisals are usually coming in more than what we thought they would be.
Yep. So the third contingency is loan. This is the most important one. And what I have to really pinpoint about this contingency is that just because these buyers come into this escrow with a pre-approval, that doesn't mean they're finally approved for the loan. So throughout the loan process for a buyer, they need verification of employment, they need 2 pay stubs, they need tax returns, all kinds of things. So once this package is submitted when escrow is open for a buyer, it goes through a process of underwriting. And from there, the underwriters get down into the details of the buyer's funds and their debt to income ratio. And by day 21, they should know whether or not they are 100% solid good to go. And on that day, that should be our final contingency removal, which means after day 21, the buyer no longer has a reason to back out of the house without losing their deposit. But one thing I do want to mention is sellers may get their hopes up and may get hopeful, but just to remind you guys, we do live in the state of California where the buyers are backed pretty well, and there are some gray areas for them to get their deposit back. So as long as we stay on our timeline and we're really strict with these other agents on getting these contingencies removed in a timely manner, we can know whether or not we're in a good position to close. So talk about closing.
Yeah, so typically we recommend our sellers to be out the day before the day of close of escrow. But it really matters to be out by 6 p.m. that day. The buyers typically want their keys a little bit earlier. They're getting anxious. You're getting anxious to get out of your house yourself. But typically we recommend being out the day before and then closing the next day.
So once you're out, we do recommend that you just put your keys and your garage door remotes in a drawer in the kitchen or somewhere in the house. We will give the buyer's agent access to the buyers through our lockbox to get in on the day we close escrow. So let's talk a little bit more about the day that we close. So the day that we close, typically the buyers have wired their funds into escrow. The bank has wired their funds into escrow. Escrow takes the money, they send it to title. Title takes the deed that you signed over to the buyers and they send it out to the County of San Diego for recording. So sometimes there's a delay there, but expect the closing time to be, most of the times I see them at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. They could be as late as 7 o'clock. Sometimes we can get an early close at 8 in the morning, but once that recording confirmation happens and we get that email, it is time to wipe your hands free and clear of the home, and you guys are no longer the owners of that home that we just sold. So,
all right, guys, I know this escrow process is stressful. I mean, this is one of the biggest purchases you're probably gonna make in your entire life. We're here to hold your hand throughout the whole entire process, whether it's 6 in the morning or 6 p.m. We're always working, we're always by our phones, here to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, so don't ever feel bad. It is an emotional process, we get it. So like he said, pick up your phone, shoot us a text. Even if you're feeling weird at 10 o'clock at night or you just don't feel right about something, that's what we're here for. We love our job and we love our customers and our clients as much as we love our job. So we're here to take care of you for that. There may be some ups and downs through escrow that we have no control over, but just know that we are 100% on your side and we have your back through thick and thin, and whatever it takes to get the job done, we'll do it. So.